This is how you get around it, man. Call all y'all about Shimon Shah. So first and foremost, I want to say, call all y'all about Shimon Shah, which is Most High in Christ blessed. Also want to say how about Shimon Shah Barakatah, which is Most High in Christ blessed. Why Shalom, or and Shalom, or and peace, right? Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, right? We're gonna get right into this. I want to ensure that my video is live before I have problems with YouTube. It's seeming like YouTube giving me problems right now. So we just gonna confirm or deny whether I'm live or not. Just bear with me un momento. So it's not giving me live. Now it's giving me live that I'm live. Okay. So I'm gonna get right into it, starting in Genesis chapter 37. And then from there, I'm gonna try and get to at least 45. But like last time, man, sometimes things happen and it ends quickly, man. So we're just gonna get right into Genesis 37. It's mostly reading for the most part anyway. So it's not really like it's much lesson in here. It's just going through the Torah. For those who don't actually like to read, I get it done for you, but still gotta read, man, right? But this Genesis 37 word 1, it says, and Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, right? That word stranger again, right? In the land of Canaan. Let's see what that word stranger is. I'm sure it might be I think it's Gar or oh, that's Magawar. So this is a little bit different than the one, which is probably Gawar. I wish I had that folder that I had that broke down how Hebrew is, the characters, what they mean and stuff, but it don't matter, right? So it's Magawar for that stranger there. The root of it is Gar, which means Jacob, and obviously was a stranger in the land of Canaan because he was a righteous stranger, right? So these are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, right, and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Right? Now, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Right? Because he was the son of his old age, when he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Right? Got a knot on my lip, so it might be a little bit hard for me to speak, but I'm still get this done right. Ran into a wall at work, yawning and stuff, man. So just gonna try and get through it. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said, "Here, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and it also stood upright. And behold, your sheaf stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaf." Now, this is no this to dreams in general, but we got to understand the dreams of the prophets and our dreams are not equivalent now, right? And I will use my life as an example. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I'm not, because this is important, right? You can't really look too deep into dreams all the time, right? And I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? Because I often hear reports of me being in dreams, whether it's brothers reporting what their wives dreamed, or whether it's brothers reporting what they dreamed. Sometimes it's brothers reporting what their children's dreamed. And every time they talk about dreams, and I'm mentioned, they talking about how, oh, Gadget was lifted and we were left, or Gadget was saved and we were left, or even we were saved and Gadget was with us even though we're not congregating with him no more, right? I say that to say this. dreams are vain, right? There's no way that brothers can take their dreams and what they see and say, "Oh, Gadget is a righteous brother," or "Gadget is this." No, dreams is vain, man. Right? I'm not saying I'm wicked. I'm not saying I'm righteous, right? But to say that a dream is equivalent to something. Damn, I just looked it up and I erased it. The dream is equivalent to what the future is going to hold, or a prophecy. It's not necessarily it, man. Right? Okay, so let's go here first. I'm not coming at nobody, man. If you see this video and you feel some type of way, don't come under my video talking to me about what I said in the video, man. Come in my either inbox if you are able to get in my inbox, or if you have my phone number, reach out to me, man. I don't want the public to be saying, "Oh, you saying my dream." I don't want the public to see anything of division, man. Right? We could talk about if you don't agree with doctrine, but when it comes to stuff like this, please don't address me with this, man. So this is like Zechariah 10 verse 2. For the idols have spoken vanity, and their diviners have seen a lie, and have told false dreams. They comfort in vain, right? Therefore they went their way as a flock. They were troubled because there was no shepherd, right? That's obviously not talking about the people who dreamed about me, but some people do speak false dreams in vanity, man, right? And I could tell you a bunch of different accounts where people came to me and told me that they dreamed a dream, they dreamed a dream, they and I can't really say that it's been different with children having dreams about me, but women and brothers that I congregated with, right, wives of men and so on and so forth, they told me like, "Yo, man, we had a dream about you," and then I'm like, "Oh, word," and then they often say it's a spirit booster. Sometimes that be a letdown a little bit because brothers be feeling like they could do more. Sometimes it is a spiritual booster, but when brothers is in a sense of feeling like maybe I ain't doing enough, or maybe and this is all past mindsets, right? Now I'm doing the work, doing what I gotta do, but in the past people will come with me with dreams, and I'm sitting in the crib not trying to do anything for the Lord, man. Right? And I'm like, that don't make sense, right? So yeah, we just don't want to look too deep into dreams, man. Right? You can have dreams and they can be prophetic, but sometimes dreams are vain, right? So it says, this is Sirach chapter 34, verse 1. It says, the hopes of man void of understanding are vain and false, and dreams lift up fools, right? So dreams are meant to lift up fools, man, right? And then we're going to go verse 5, right? Actually, I'm going to continue on in this chapter, right? The vision of dreams is the resemblance of one thing to another, even as the likeliness of a face to a face, right? So somebody can have a dream, and you could see somebody's face in their dream, me per se, or something along those lines, man. When they go into this prophecy about Joseph and how he was going to rule over the children of Israel, that is a prophecy. That's a prophetic dream. But for brothers to tell me dreams about, oh, we got left behind, you made it, that's vanity to me, man. Honestly, right? But it says of an unclean thing, what can be cleansed, and from what thing which is false, what truth can come, right? Divinations and soothsayings and dreams are vain. The heart fanciest as a woman heart and travail. So we gotta understand that dreams are vain, right? Even if you're righteous, man, sometimes dreams are vain, man. Not all dreams is meant to be a sign or whatever, man. Sometimes you don't even have to pass the message on, man, that, oh, this brother was in a dream and this brother was nah, man, we don't really gotta do that, man. So continuing on in this Genesis 37, right? It's verse 37 and 8, chapter 37, verse 8, it says, and his brother said unto him, shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us, right? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words, and he dreamed yet another dream and told his brother, and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more And behold, the sun and moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. Right, sun and moon, more so talking about Jacob, right? Jacob and the foremothers, and the 11 stars is the 11 tribes, pretty much. And they made obeisance, right? Let's get that word, obeisance. I think it's praise, but I'm not sure. Shakha, right? Bow down to the press, to bow down, prostrate oneself before superior and homage before God and worship. So it's not praise necessarily, but worship, bow down, the obeisance, reverence, fall down themselves to God. So we're gonna get to that point, but we're not gonna get it right just yet. So continuing on, it's gonna be more so in like Genesis, maybe 40. I might get to it today. I'm not sure, right? And it says obeisance to me, verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him. So his father was like, "Yo, son, you can't talk like that." And said unto him, "What is this that dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brother indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?" So you gotta see. He said, "Thy mother." His mother's gone, right? What is it? Rachel, right? Rachel died, right, when giving birth to my tribe, Benjamin, man. Right? She gave up the ghost, man. So this is thy mother. He's talking about the other mothers, which is Leah, Bilal, and I'm not sure about the other one name, right? But still, right? And it says, and his brethren envied him, and his father observed the same. But his father observed the same, so his father was trying to inquire of it, right? And it says, and his brethren went to feed their father's flocks in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, "Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee to them." And he said, "Here I am." And he said to him, "Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again." So he sent them out of the Baal of Hebron, and he came to Shechem, right? And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, "What seekest thou?" And he said, "I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks." And the man said, "They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan." And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan, right? We gotta remember, Joseph is the younger brother next to Benjamin, and Benjamin is young, and he's the next youngest in kin, man, right? He's young, he's not old, man, right? And he's kind of like when you got the brothers, the older brothers going and doing their thing, man. They go and run and do whatever they want, and the younger brother always trying to tag along. And in this case, it was Israel that was sending him, "Yo, go see what your brother's doing. Go ahead, go get out of here," right? And he went along. But it was obviously not where they was reported to be, because like black children say, "Oh yeah, I'm going over here," and then oftentimes it'll be here or there, right? So that's the case that was happening here. They was like, "Yo, where they at?" And then they came and he found them, right, and where they was at, man. All right, verse 18, it says, "And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him." So when they saw him, it was thinking like, we gotta kill this man, right? And then they said one to another, "Behold, this dreamer cometh." So that was kind of like a slight to Joseph, man. They said the dreamer is coming. That's how Israel is, man. Oh, look at him with his fancy clothes. They often throw side-handed compliments as insults, man. And it's like, do you like what I got on, or do you not like what I got on, right? So come now, therefore, let us slay him and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands and said, Let us not kill him. So Reuben was a smart one, right? Even our forefathers, Judah, Benjamin, or not Benjamin in this case, but Judah, Levi, Simeon, Issachar, not Manasseh or Ephraim, but Dan, I say Reuben, Gad, Naphtali. All his brothers was like, let's kill him, but instead Reuben, I mentioned Reuben, but Reuben was the one that didn't want to kill him, right? And Reuben said, shed no blood. So he didn't want him to shed blood, but cast him into the pit that is in the wilderness and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass when Joseph was come unto his brother, they stripped Joseph out of his coat. So they took his coat out of him, man, and a coat of many colors that was on him, right? And they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it, right? So they said it was an empty pit, no water in it. So that's where they threw him in, man, right? Obviously, it had to be high enough where he couldn't get out, man. It wasn't no shallow pit. It was a deep pit, man, right? And it says, and they sat down. And I often think with this, it's a tangent a little bit, but if this was me in the pit, I'm about to use my feet and try and fake footsteps to get out of it, man. But that's just me. I ain't know the situation. I wasn't there for it. So, but if I was thinking like this, man, I'm about to try and find my way out of here, solve the problem, man. But this is all of the Lord, man. The Lord wanted this to happen, man. And you're gonna see that in a later chapter. And it says, and they sat down to eat bread and lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother, and our flesh and our brother and his brethren were content. So they said, we're gonna sell him to the Ishmaelites, right? Then there passed by Midianites merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. So the Ishmaelites took Joseph to Egypt, man, right? And that's when Joseph got into Egypt, man, right there, right? I'm not going to say anything else pertaining to that just yet. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. So Reuben was tight. He was mad, man. Oh, what the heck? Rent his clothes. He ripping up his clothes. Right? So that's how he was moving, man. He was tight that they actually went through with it, man. Right? Continuing on, he returned unto his brother and said, the child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And he took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in the blood. So they was like, look, let's just do what we gotta do, right? So, actually, his brethren tried to sell him to the Ishmaelites, but the Midianites passed by, and I wanted to make sure that, because I didn't mention this, the Midianites seen Joseph in there, and they lifted him out of the pit, and they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. Then, the Ishmaelites, who was going to get Joseph anyway, took him to Egypt, man. So Joseph was sold, but not at the hand of Israel, right? Okay, so we was right here, right? And then this verse 32, it says, and they sent a coat of many colors and brought it to their father and said, this have we found, know now, whether it be thy son's coat or no. And they knew it was his coat, right? They knew what they was doing, right? And they knew that his father would know, man, right? And he knew it and said, it is my son's coat, and evil beasts have devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. So they said, he was like, my son, he got chewed up and torn up by animals, man. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. Now, this is important when we're going further down, man. When we start getting into Egypt and everything, we're going to see how important it is for Joseph to go to the Egyptians, man. This was all the Lord's doing, man, for a purpose, man. Right? It might seem like, why would the Lord send Joseph to slavery, or not even to slavery, but to Egypt? Because he wasn't a slave in Egypt, right? He was a well-respected man, right? And we're gonna see that soon, man. But And it says, and Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. So he didn't want to be comforted, man. His son died, man. Why are you trying to get off of me, man? My son is dead, man. Right? Stuff like that, man. We see this stuff happen, man. For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him, and the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and the captain of the guard. So they sold him to Egypt, right? Potiphar. Let's continue on, right? Now this is going on another tangent after Joseph is in Egypt, right? So this is Judah and Tamar, the header, right? We're going to Genesis 38 and 1. Let's look into this, right? And it came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name was Harah. And Judah saw that there a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan, right? And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Shezbazib, and when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yahweh, and the Lord slew him, right? So the Lord slew right? And it says, Judah said unto Onan, go into thy brother's wife and marry her, and raise up thy up seed to thy brother, right? This is easy right here. It should pop up. Nope. It's the law. So we want to just get to Deuteronomy 28, 21. Nope. That ain't it. That's a specific one. Give me 1 second. I'm just looking for the specific verse. So this is Deuteronomy 25, verse 5. If a brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. So that stranger there is talking about any Israelite that's not any Israelite, right? She can't marry any other Israelite. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her. So this is the only time where we allowed to sleep with our brother's wife, man. Right? Because our brother being dead, it's not really our kin anymore, but technically speaking it is. So it says his brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife. So by law, it's actually laws in the Torah where a man, if he has a wife already, he has to take on another wife in this instance. If your brother dies, then you have to take on another wife, right? And that's why when Yahweh Shai said, in the kingdom of heaven, they be not given to marriage or taken away from marriage. So they be as angels in heaven. That was saying that we're not going to die in the kingdom, man. We're not going to be given in marriage because your brother's not going to die, man. There's no more death. That's what Yahweh Shai was iterating when he was saying that, man. This is still in effect up until now, man, right? But let's continue on. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead. So he has to take on that name, right? And it says that his name be not put out of Israel. So that name of his brother, let's say his name is Jocham, right? His brother could be named Mattathiah, right? And Mattathiah has sex with Jocham's wife, ex-wife, well, not even ex-wife, Jocham's, widow, right? And then that woman becomes Jocham's wife, right? And now he has two wives, no matter if he have one wife, or if he have no wife, then that becomes his main wife, man. And then he got to name his child Joch or Mattathiah, man, in honor for his brother, man, who died. And if the man not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gates to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him. If he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders and loose his shoe from off his foot and spit in his face, and he shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house, and his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that have his shoes. So this here is what happens, man, right? But you're supposed to take on that man's wife, man. You don't want to be ashamed or something in the sights of Israel, man. Right? That's law, though, man. Right? So continuing on where I left off, right? Okay, so that's where this commandment came from. Deuteronomy 25, that commandment came from Genesis 20:38. We could see that the Genesis and the rest of the commandments kind of go hand in hand, like I was saying in the last video, man. And the thing which he did displeased Yahweh, right? So if you're not going to do that, man, it's displeasing to Yahweh. Wherefore he slew him also. So the Lord killed Onan and man, because they were both wicked, man. Right, and it says, then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house till Salah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, and as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Right, so she went to do her own thing. Right. Now, continuing on, it says, in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up into the sheep shearers to Timnah, right? He and his friends Herod the Adulamite. And it was told to Barbie, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep. Right? So I don't know why they would have the idea to be like this on this time, but it's getting pretty wicked. It's about to get pretty scary too, right? So, and she put her widow's garments off from her. So she took off the recognizable garments that they would know she's a widow, and cover her with a veil. So she covered her face up, man, cover everything up and wrapped herself. So she made sure she was not recognizable, man, and sat in an open place, which is by the way of Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. So she was like, yo, look, he's grown now, man, and why ain't I his wife now? Right? That was their agreement, right? So when Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot. Come on, man. We got to get this word out the Hebrew, man. Zana. Right? Harlot. Go a-whoring. Whoredom. Whore. Commit fornication. Whorish. Harlot. Commit. Continually great whore. So this, technically speaking, is not whoredom or committing fornication or whoredom, man. You don't necessarily have to believe that this is wrong, man. And this is why we don't necessarily believe this is wrong, man. Right? Let me go there. Let me go right there. This is out of King Solomon's mouth, man. This is Proverbs 6:26, man. Right? It says, and when somebody say that King Solomon was wicked, but he wasn't wicked for dealing with the women. He was wicked for following after their ways, man. It says, for by means of a whorish woman is a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. So this is saying that a woman's price is less than a piece of bread, man. Right? But here we see that Judah thought Tamar to be an harlot. Why would he be doing anything with a harlot if it's wrong? Right? Hold on. Shall not play with an harlot. Now look, see, so Leviticus 21:7 says, prohibits priests from marrying a woman who is a prostitute or divorced, right? And then here in 1 Corinthians 6:16, it talk about that being joined to a harlot is you two become one flesh. So Judah was dealing with a harlot, right? Technically speaking, the Levites can't marry harlots, but if you could join yourself to a harlot and you become one body, so you could deal with a harlot, man. And also the way Judah was doing it, man, he was just gonna do it, man, right? And he turned. Let's continue on. And he turned unto her by the way and said, "Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee." For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law, and she said, "What wilt thou give me that thou mayest go in unto me?" So he had to pay for that, man. Right? I didn't say it, but Judah paying for the price of an harlot, man. Right here was Judah in sin, right? And he said, "I will send thee a kid from the flock," and she said, "Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it?" And he said, "What pledge shall I give thee?" And she said, "Thy signet and thy bracelets and thy staff that is in thy hand." She was like, "Look, I want the signet, right, which would be like something like this, right? The bracelet and the staff." That's what she wanted. She got it, right? And he gave it to her. That's the next part. He gave it to her, right? And it came in unto her, and she conceived by him. Here we see, he thought she to be a harlot. She actually wasn't a harlot, but he wasn't going to deal with her as a wife, man. That's Judah, the forefather of the African Americans, man. Right? This was not a sin, man. It's still not a sin. As long as, hold on. She wasn't a daughter of Zion, too. Remember that. Deuteronomy 23, verse 17, right? It says, "There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Thou shalt not bring the hire of an whore or the price of the dog into the house of Yahweh thy power for any vow." So it says, look, you're not supposed to bring him into the house of the Lord for a vow, man. Right? So technically speaking, you're not supposed to marry him either, man. But the marriage ceremonies technically didn't happen in the house of the Most High, man. Right? "For even both of these are abomination to Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt not lend usually to thy brother, usury of money, usury of victual, usury or anything that is went upon usury." So the thing is, we can't make our, so just looking at it from a clean sense, right? A clean slate, right? We're not looking at nothing else but the basic level, right? So if she's an Israelite, we can't make her a harlot, or we can't deal with Israelite harlots. There should be no whores of the daughter of Zion, right? And we can't bring a whore into the house of the Lord, man. Which is going to be the temple, which is technically speaking not no more, right? But it's no whore, man, right? Of the daughters of Zion, and we can't deal with whores and bringing them into the house of the Lord. But if we dealing with a whore on a day-to-day, it ain't nothing wrong with that, man. But me as a man, men with some respect out here, man, or men who got some self-control, man, not gonna pay for the thing, man. Right? We not gonna pay for it. We don't need to pay for it. There's plenty of women out here that you could go court for a little bit, have some control over yourself, and then make your wife, man. Right? Even if she got that bad attitude, man, oh well, right? But if you want to pay for it, man. That's what it says, man. Pay for it, right? Ain't nothing wrong with paying for it, man, right? Take it as you want to. If you want to come at me and say that it's wrong, show me book, chapter, verse where it says it's wrong, man, right? And then if you want to, hold on. I think it's Deuteronomy 6. Is it 10? I'm gonna do one more before I actually look it up. No, I'm gonna get it. $23. Now, we got to remember who was the foremother of or great grandmother of David, a Moabite man. Was it wrong for Ruth, the Moabite, to be dealing with an Israelite? Right. So this is Deuteronomy 23 verse 3. It says, "An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahweh forever." She was not in a congregation, right? The house of the Lord congregation is a little bit different, but it's the same instance, man, right? You're not even allowed to deal. The harlot's not allowed to come into the house of the Lord. The congregation is just the congregating, coming together, having feast days, so on and so forth, man, right? Holy convocation, man. And it might be an add-on to say holy convocations, but that's a congregation. We can't have them in that, man. The are Moabites. So David's grandmother was a Moabite, man. We can't go into this harlot that Judah was dealing with and say that he was wrong, man. You can't point that in the scripture, right? We could say that in Deuteronomy 23, Moabite, right? Some of us was dealing with Moabites, man. So continuing on though, man. And it says, and she arose and went away. So she did not even stay there. She lay with him and got out of there, right? And she conceived by him and the king. Okay, so and laid by her veil from her and put on the garments of her widowhood. So she went back to being a widow and trying to claim a widow, right? And Judah sent the kid by the hands of his friend the Adulamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where's the harlot that was openly by the wayside?" So look, he said, "Where's that hoe at, man? Where's she at, man? Where the hoe at, man? Just Judah." Right? And they said there was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, "I cannot find her." And also the men of the place said there was no harlot in this place. It ain't no hoes here, man. Right? And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also behold, she is with child by whoredom. And what? He thought she was a harlot. And Judah was the one that she had a child by, right? So Judah was like, and Judah said, "Bring her forth and let her be burnt." Judah was ready to have her put to death, man, right? And when she was brought forth, so we got to remember, she got this man's bracelet, signet, and staff, right? And when she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the men whose these are, am I with child?" And she said, "Discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet, the bracelet, and the staff." And she's like, "Nigga, look, you want to come at me? Look what I got. I got your signet, I got your bracelet, and I got your staff. Who you think this is the dad, man?" And it says, and Judah acknowledged them and said, "She have been more righteous than I." So Judah was like, dang, she more righteous than me, right? Because Judah lay with her. That is where the sin is. Judah lay with his daughter's wife, man, right? But he was, before him dealing with the harlot, man, he was not in the wrong, man, if it was just him dealing with the harlot, man, right? You can't show me dealing with harlot is wrong, but playing the harlot is wrong, right? Israel played the harlot, right? And so on and so forth, right? And it came to pass, because if it wasn't right, then why would Judah just be willingly open to deal with a harlot, man? Right? And it came to pass in the time of her travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed that one put out his hand, and the midwife And midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying the first, this came out first, right? And it came to pass as he drew back his hand that behold, his brother came out, and she said, hast thou broken forth? This breath be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Perez, and afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his head, and his name was called Zerah. Zerah, I think, going to scarlet, if I'm not mistaken, right? And as this is Rach, Zerach, rising, okay. And Zerah is the same as the name as Esau's son. So we can't say that these are the same people. You got to be able to use discernment. And this scripture's talking about different people, man. But going on, we going to probably get to chapter 40, man. I'm going to try and get to 42, but yeah, we're going to just see how that works out, man. Because currently, I wanted to see how long I've been going. I don't know, I'm only 2 chapters deep. I'd probably do this every single time I go live. But it says I've been live for 41 minutes. Yeah. Okay, but this is Genesis 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down into Egypt. Now, this is what we're talking about Egypt now, man. And Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him out of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And Yahweh was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. See, the Lord was dealing with Joseph at this time, and he was prosperous, man. And he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian, and his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all that he did to prosper in his hand. So look, the Pharaoh knew that he was prosperous, man. And Joseph found grace in his sight, not in the sight of the Lord, but the sight of the Pharaoh, right? And he served him, right? And he made him an overseer of his house. That's how we know it was the Pharaoh, right? And all that he had put into his hand. And it came to pass from that, the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Yahweh blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. So the Most High blessed the Egyptians because Joseph was under his hand. Just how the Most High blesses a lot of people because we are in their hand, man, right? And the blessing of Yahweh was upon all that he had in the house and in the field, right? And he, so we see the Lord is blessing Israel, or Joseph, for the children of Israel, ultimately, right? And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not all he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored, and it came to pass these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, "Lie with me," right? But he refused. Joseph was a good man, and he said unto his master's wife, "Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house," right? And he committed all that he hath to my hand, and there is none greater than in this house than I. Neither have he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? So sleeping with another man's wife in general is wrong. It's a bond between a man and a woman, right? So when David committed the sin with Bathsheba, man, that's what was done, man. That's why he was in sin, man, right? And it can't, because the man wasn't dead, man. The man was dead, but still David sent him off, and we could think of this as an example, man, right? Yeah, we may want to lay with a woman who might not be dealing with, like if we say Eve, right, or basically Israelite women, right? Let's say Israelite women, right, dealing with a Edomite man or whatever. That's a covenant between that man and that woman. You can't go and take that man's wife, even if she's an Israelite, man. It is what it is, man. You gotta let it be done, right? Let her become a widow and then pursue her, man. Right? Ain't nothing wrong with pursuing a woman after widowhood, but you got to do it the right way. You can't kill that man. You can't have him killed. You can't do none of that. The Lord see everything, man. Right? And it came to pass as she spake to Joseph day by day that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house of his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. She caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." And he left his garment in her hand and fled. He ran out, man, and got him out. He's like, look, get off of me. Took his clothes off and ran, man. That's what Joseph was doing to avoid this woman trying to lay with him, right? Okay, and it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, she fled forth. Then she called unto the men in the house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. And he came in unto lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. So she tried to flip the script and lie on him. And it came to pass when he heard that, I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. Why would you leave evidence, right? As a man, right? And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. So obviously he was mad, right? And Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, in a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. So Joseph was locked up. They won't let him out. But Yahweh was with Joseph. So the Lord was dealing with Joseph, man, right? And showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did, he was the doer of it, right? The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because Yahweh was with him, and that which he did, Yahweh made it to prosper, right? So continuing on, Genesis 40, now this is a good one, right? How Joseph get out of prison, man. And it came to pass that after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had often offended their lord, the king of Egypt, right? And Pharaoh was wrought against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers and against the chief of the bakers. And he put them in the ward in the house of the captain of the guard into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. And the captain of the guard was charged with Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season inward, right? And it says, and they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream one night, each according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which are bound in the prison. And Joseph came in and unto them in the morning, and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he said, Pharaoh's officers that were Salakia. And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him and the ward of his Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, we have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it, right? Israel is a prophet, man, right? Israel can discern dreams properly, man, like David, or not David, Daniel, right? And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray thee. So he says, interpretations belong to the Most High. Tell me so I can know, right? And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said, in my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and the blossom shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. We're going to get the understanding thereof of this, because it's in here, right? And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and pressed them into Pharaoh's hand, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's head. And Joseph said, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore him to thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, and after the former manner, when thou wast his butler, right? But think on me, when it shall be well with thee, show kindness, I pray thee unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring out of this house. So he's like, look, this gonna happen. But when you go to Pharaoh and he take you back, man, talk about me. Let him know about me, right? For indeed I was thrown out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing they should put me into the dungeon. So he said, I'm innocent, man. I need to get out of this jail, man. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head, and in the uttermost baskets there was all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh. And the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. Right? And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler again unto his butlership again. Right, and he gave up the cup into Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. That most likely probably couldn't have happened if he mentioned Joseph, man. But he didn't do it. He forgot about Joseph, man. How you forget about Joseph, man? Right? He's the one that told you about your dream, man. So we're going to continue on, though, right? So this is Genesis 41, verse 1. And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and battle flesh, right? And they fed in the meadow, right? And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean flesh, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and the lean flesh kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. It's easy to understand that one, man. But we're going to get to it. It ain't going to be broken down by me. And he slept and dreamed the 2nd time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, and rank and good. This all goes hand in hand with the rest of the chapter. And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprang up after them. And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears, and Pharaoh woke, and behold, it was a dream, right? So, these dreams were not vain. Right? These dreams were all prophetic, man. Right? And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof, and Pharaoh told him his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in the ward in the captain's guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, and I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretations of the dream. There was with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams, to each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Right? And so that in Genesis 40, it was 2 different bakers. One baker was restored to office, the other one was hung. Right? So, not to add into the scripture or take away from the script, right? So continuing on, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph. So the point that I made before I continue on, the point that I made that he was hung because he didn't tell of Joseph, that was actually this man here, right? He did tell of Joseph because it was at this point where he needed to, right? So continuing on, then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon, and he shaved himself and charged his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. Right, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there was none that can interpret it, and I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. So he said, It's not me, but the Most High that's going to give you an answer. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of a river, and behold, there came out of the river 7 kine, fat flesh, and well favored, and they fed in the middle, right? And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill favored and lean flesh, right? Such as I have saw in all the land of Egypt for badness, and the lean and all the ill favored kind did eat up the first 7 fat kine. And when they had eaten them up, it could be not known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill favored, and as at the beginning. So I awoke, and I saw in my dream, behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good, and then and behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, strung up after them. Right? The 10 ears devoured the 7 good ears, and I told this unto the magicians, but there was none that could declare it unto me. And Joseph said, The dream of Pharaoh is one. God hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. prophecy. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one. And the 7 thin and 7 ill-favored kind that came up after them are 7 years. And the 7 empty ears blasted with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. Right? These are the same thing. They're one dream, but they happened simultaneously. Right? This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, what God is about to do, he showed up unto Pharaoh. Behold, there comes 7 years of great plenty throughout all the land of Egypt. Joseph used this to his advantage, right? And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land, and the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of the famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for that the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice. It is because the thing is established by the Most High, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Right? You can have multiple reoccurring dreams. Sometimes it's just a vain dream. Don't think because you have a reoccurring dream that it's any prophecy in it. Sometimes dreams are prophetic, though. Don't just be like, oh, every dream is vain. Every dream is vain. Sometimes things happen in dreams for a reason, man. But don't look too deep into it all the time, man. Right? Let Pharaoh do this. Let him appoint officers over the land and take up a fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. Right? And let him gather all the food, those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities, and the food shall be stored to the land against 7 years of famine, which shall be brought in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of his servants. So, we see here now, Genesis 41:38, and Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is, a man whose spirit is of God is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according to unto thy word shall all the people be ruled. According and only in thy throne will I be greater than thou. So he said, look, I'm the only one greater than you. You're above everybody else, man. That was the Lord, man. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt, man. Right? Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, bow the knee, right? And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt, right? And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah, right? And he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, and Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. And Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth by handfuls. And he gathered up all the foods of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, and the food of the field which was round about every city, and he laid up in the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea very much, and he left until he left numbering, for it was without number. Right? So Joseph was prepared. The Lord told me it's about to be a famine. I'm about to store this up for the 7 years that it's going to be good, and then after that, we're going to have to live off of this, right? So he knew, right? And unto Joseph, and that's why he took corn, man. The Lord showed Pharaoh corn, because that was what was going to be gathered, man. Right? And Joseph, and unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came. So he had 2 children in a process of 7 years, man. Of Potiphera, priest of On, bearing to him. And Joseph called the name of his firstborn Manasseh, for God said, he had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. Now, Manasseh is technically an honorary tribe, so we're going to get that meaning of that Manasseh here. And that's Manashah, causing to forget. We're going to get Ephraim next. So next one up. In the 7 years of plentiness, right? Okay, in the name of the second, he called Ephraim, for God hath caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So Ephraim probably means fruitful. And that's Aphariam. Aphariam. Double as heap, I shall be doubly fruitful. So that's double fruitful, double heap. That's what Ephraim means. Okay, in 7 years of plentiness that was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began to come. Right, according to that Joseph had said, and the dearth was in all lands, but in the land of Egypt there was bread. They had bread in Egypt, right? They had food, they had stuff because Joseph was storing it up. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread, and Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, go unto Joseph, and what he saith to you, do. And the famine was all over the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians, and the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt, and all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because the famine was sore in all the lands. Right, it's going to be the last chapter. Yeah, this definitely going to be the last chapter I'm getting. Right? Because after this, I kind of want to end it here, man. Because these next couple chapters, if I get one, I have to get the next one, right? And I don't want to go for too much longer, man. I'm trying to get this all completed by the end of the week, honestly. Right? Hold on, let's just get rid of this and see when I started. How is it? It should be live. So let's say I did about an hour. So yeah, we're gonna end it with this, man. Yeah. So I want to say, well, of course, call all Yahweh by Hashem Yahshai. Hopefully this lesson was a little edifying, man. I know I didn't get too many precepts, but you know, it's some edifying there with the dreams and so on and so forth, right? Dealing with harlots if we can or if we can't, right? And also just going through the chapters, expounding on them, man. So with that, I want to also say Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai Barakatah. I also want to say EGA till we see the day. Amen.